What's up, Dave? I am so pumped that we're doing this today. It has been a little bit here, man. I think our last interview was, 2 years ago, something like that.
Been
So
a while.
pretty happy to have you here. I know that there's probably a few people that have seen your face already in our webinar, and we figured, hey, why not get you on to share your story and go a little bit deeper into that rabbit hole and share exactly sort of how you got into this whole thing. So if you wouldn't mind maybe introducing yourself and basically where you're at and what you're doing with Legacy Builders.
Yeah. My name's Dave Wilkinson. I was born and raised in the great state of Missouri here in the United States of America, just south of the Arch, St. Louis, Missouri. Um, I think I grew up pretty much just like everybody else, man. Most of us kind of like middle class country. Well, not everybody grew up in the country, but I grew up in the country, middle class, didn't have a lot of money, wasn't super poor. Um, Barely made it through high school, didn't like school, which is
Yeah,
why we're
middle
here. You know
class.
what I mean? Most of us that are doing this are people that didn't really fit into the mold, so to speak. So, did high school, barely made it through that. Didn't go to college, tried, but didn't fit with me either, you know? And so went out to Oklahoma, worked for a little while in the oil and natural gas industry as a blue collar worker. You worked in the oil field too, didn't you?
For a small, brief amount of time, and only because everyone told me to do it. Like there wasn't like this overwhelming desire. It was actually quite the opposite. I was like, when I'm at Harley, I was looking at these guys. I'm like, why are you doing that, man? Like, there's better ways. Like, there's sales, man. Get into sales, get into marketing, get into something. But yeah, 4 months. I think I was 4.5, 5 months, something like that.
Yeah. 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 So I was when I left Missouri, in my teens, well, in my early 20s, I had to get out of Missouri because I was just like in a bad way. I was either going to end up dead or in jail, one of the two. So like I moved away from everything that I'd ever known just because I knew that that was the way that I was going to end up like being a contributing member of society. So when I got into the oil field, it was like 4 or 5 years. And then what happened was when the bust of 2014 happened, because the oil field is boom and bust, right? When when the price of the barrel is high, everybody's happy in the oil field. When it's low, everybody's not. So I got to experience my first bust in 2014 and almost made it through that downturn and got laid off in 2000 and late 2016. And like when that
Yeah,
happened, man,
that's
what's that?
right. That's right because I got that bus at 14 took me out. That was the one that took me out. Like I
Right.
was 4 months in, I was like, I'm done. Like it was like a sign from God, like, dude, you're not meant to be here. But I knew that, well, I actually no. I went back for like one hitch. And when I went back, 90% of the people were gone. And usually I'd have like 8 to 12 rock chucks to be filling during the day. They
Mm,
had one, and they
mm.
literally said, and I quote, they go, Cav, you're only here so we can build out the machine. And I remember the first like 2 hours, I was like, yeah, this is great. Just sit here all day, man, just get paid. And then, like, I don't know if you've ever been in an excavator, but this one had bars, literally bars on the window. And I started
Mm.
getting anxiety. And after like the first day, I was like, I can't do this anymore. So I actually moved to a Bobcat and I just buzzed around for a while. I was like, oh, this will be fun. But you can only buzz around, a parking lot thing for maybe an hour until you're like, holy Christ. So if you're doing that for 12 hours a day, 21 days out of the month, I walked into my boss's office. I'm like, I'm not doing this, man. He's like, I'm surprised you last this long, dude. As soon as I saw you come in, I'm like, this guy's not going to be here for long.
Right. Yeah. So I made it all the way in 2000 till 2016, and then I never really do well at a normal traditional 9 to 5 just because I don't know, it's my personality type. Maybe I think I'm smarter than the guy that's supposed to be telling me what to do. I don't know. So like with that being said, I had bucked to the system so many times. My manager was like, he would just do danger. We were throwing around 10,000 pound valves in the oil field. There's these giant valves that you go out and you frack the well with, and like that's really heavy equipment. One wrong move and you're like not breaking something, smashing something, or killing somebody. And he would just do like the most outlandish shit, bro. And that I'd be like, that's not safe. Like we can't do it like that. And finally I told my manager one too many times like that we can't do that. And I guess that in conjunction with the downturn, they were like, well, let's get rid of this guy. You know,
Yeah.
he's a
Pretty much
pain in
it.
our asses, you know. So
Yeah.
that happened, and like, man, I looked around and was like, the like we have these things that happen in our lives that are pretty significant, and it like pulls us outside of ourselves for a moment in time and allows us to really look at what's going on. And so when that happened, I had an out of body experience, and I'm looking at myself from outside of myself, and all the people around me were like in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, some of them even in their 70s, and they were old, obviously broken, and now broke.
Broke.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, that's going to be me if I like. So at the same time that I was getting laid off, like the day that they were letting me go, I almost seen the silver lining immediately, which was really cool. Now, I'm not going to say I wasn't scared because I just bought my girlfriend, my ex-girlfriend now, but I bought her that brand new 2016-17 Dodge Challenger. So I was 40 grand in debt, and they fired me the next day, which was bonkers. But on my way home, I thought to myself, like, dude, you're not going to work your ass off for the rest of your life just to make pennies and then get laid off and it not be like totally out of your control. So what that told me was, how do I control more of my like future, my financial future, my time freedom? Like, how do I control that? Because I didn't like the feeling of someone else controlling my future as it pertained to the what I get to do, the freedom that I have. Obviously, you don't have much control over that if you're going to do a 9 to 5, because if you don't show up, you get fired, right? And then there's a bunch of other ways that you're being manipulated and controlled. But then the financial aspect of it as well bothered me. I was just like, it didn't make sense to me to allow another man that wasn't as smart as me or capable
Yeah.
dictate how much money I made, bro. Like it didn't add up. So
Yeah.
that's whenever I started looking into this.
Then you get taxed 40%. I remember the first time I got my paycheck. I remember it like it was yesterday. We're outside this little, those little modular box house things, whatever it
Yep.
was, whatever the
Mm-hmm.
trailers.
Yeah.
And you get your paycheck, and the paycheck, you'd have to like the envelope open, and then it would, and you could hear everybody outside, like everyone's opening their stuff like it's Christmas morning.
Right.
And I open it up and I see the top line and it said like 99.40 or something like that. And I was like, yeah, bro. I was so pumped because my goal was 10K a month. Like that was my goal. The whole reason I got into oil field in the first place is 10K a month. And then I looked at the bottom line and it was like 3,800, or no, it was over 4 grand that I got taxed. And I remember looking there and just my heart sank into my stomach, and I'm looking around waiting for other people to be angry, and everyone's like, yeah, high five, and everyone's excited because beers after work, and I'm like, we just got robbed 40% of our money, guys. Like,
Right.
are you serious? And no one cared. And that was like one of the main points where I was like, I'm in the wrong place. I'm not thinking like these guys aren't like me. I'm not thinking like that. And if you're in the oil field, all due respect, or there's a group that goes there and they put their head down and they do their work and they stay clean and they have one wife and they take care of the kids and they don't overfinance themselves. But 99.9% of the guys up there are divorced. They have addiction issues. They're smokers. They don't take care of the body. They don't go to the gym. And more than anything, they're miserable. Last thing, I'm walking down this because I'm up in Fort McMurray, so it's minus 40 degrees. And this is after the 2014. So the 90% of the people are gone. There's one guy, and he's at way down at the other end. Like he's like this big, right? Way down at the other end. And I see him. He's holding his boots, right? Because you couldn't wear your muddy boots through the whatever. And I'm looking straight at him the entire way. And there's just me and him in the hallway. And I watched him for like a quarter mile, bro. And this guy walked right by me. He didn't say hi, didn't lift his head, nothing. I'm smiling. I'm like, hey. And he just walked right by me like a zombie. It's like, why am I here? And it's like the halogen lights, and it's cold, and this is just, man, it's just not my vibe. Not my vibe.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%, man. And the tax was rough too. I don't know how much I was paying attention to that at that point in time. I mean, I'm paying attention to it now. The more money you make, but it is better to be kind of work for yourself and have more leverage when it comes to taxes. I agree with you. That's crazy though. I think we're getting taxed somewhere similar, 30 to 40% here in the US.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
It's
you
a lot.
did.
I mean, the governments are taking a lot from us. I don't think that's a secret to anybody, especially you watching. Like you're well aware, you wouldn't be watching this.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, that happened, and then I started just looking into how I could generate an income with myself on my laptop. Like I once again didn't go to college, barely made it through high school, blue collar worker my entire life. Grew up on a farm, right? So like I didn't know how to leverage the cell phone and the internet to generate an income, but I did know that it was going to be very important in 2030 or 2040, 2050, 20. Like I knew. I always make this analogy and I do it in the webinar and I'll do it again. Like our grandparents didn't have a choice. They wanted to fight technology in reference to like not getting a cell phone. You know what I mean? Like my parents even tried to fight it. Like, that's stupid. I'm not getting a cell. They thought that they could get out of this life without having that. But what they ultimately came to the harsh reality of was that they didn't get to. They had to conform to it. There's no other option because the rest of society it's intertwined and ingrained into every facet of our lives, like it or not. Like I am not the biggest fan of it. I wish we could go back to the 90s, but we can't. Like we can't do that. So you either if you can't beat them, join them type of thing. So I started to learn because it terrified me to know that in 10 years, 15, 20 years, 30 years, jobs are going to continue to get lost due to the technology and due to artificial intelligence, and that I might not know how to generate an income. Right. And then on the other side, it was very bright and exciting for me to know that if I just learned how to use this thing right here to generate an income, I'd be free. I'd be set for the rest of my life. And I could be anywhere and do it literally anywhere on the planet. Like that level of autonomy was really important to me. So I started looking into this.
Yeah, no, I feel you there, man. It's funny when you said, "Oh, I wish to go back to the 90s." I always tell Laura, my girlfriend, I said I was born 100 years too late. I should have been born in 1885.
Yeah.
But the thing is I'm not the get up early and sit in traffic and eat the same meal and take crap from a boss. Like I'm the same way as you, not thinking that I'm better than everybody, but I look at my boss and I go, "Well, I could do this."
Right.
Like, I don't need you. Like, and that was my attitude to my boss. I'm like, I don't need you. And like most of my bosses didn't work as hard as me in the first place.
Yeah, right.
And so eventually it's like, the reason why, I love the sport of bodybuilding. I love, racing, because that's a single person thing where it's like, if I work harder than you, I'm going to win. And
Right.
in the job market, that doesn't necessarily always like outperforming your coworker doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get the raise. I was the top sales at Harley Davidson for 5 years in a row, and I never got the sales manager's position. And so eventually it's like I got to go and find somewhere where I can use this potential. And of course, being able to work where you want. That my number one goal was work from home. Like I walk like from like my bedroom is like 50 feet that way. I
Yep.
love it. I don't mess with traffic anymore. But the other thing is I knew that there was a way to earn an income with people.
Right.
Like instead of me being a one-man army at my job, I get paid a certain amount, certain hours, dictated what we get made. I was like, well, why don't I just find other people that want to do what I do?
Right.
We'll build an army, and then basically you can go as big as you want. And obviously that's how this came about. But I do remember it's April 2017, I think, is when you came on board.
Yeah, right around that time. And to your point, it makes a lot of sense to like work with each other. Like what? Because in the regular industry of working, you're not working with each other, right? You're working for a company, but your income is dictated on what they say you're worth and the amount of time that you work, right? But like with what we do, we can compound that by working with each other, like you said, by working as a team. So then it's a whole lot more cool because you can create a community where if everybody's winning and we're all thriving, then we're enjoying what we're doing as well as making 10 times more money than what we would have. But yeah, so when I got started into this 2017, I think it was, yeah, right around January, February, March, April. So yeah, we've been with
it was March. It was March that you got started, and then we created the Allied Forces group. It was April 7th of 2017.
That's crazy. So we've been with each other for a while now. So yeah, I mean, and it was like, I'll be honest, to me there was no failing. like when I seen what we had, when I found out the like compensation plan and the commission structure and like the how much money there was and the legacy, the 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, $80,000 a month that we could pass on to our kids that comes literally passively on autopilot with relatively no work, literally.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm in. And there was no failing. Like the idea of failure wasn't even a thing. It was like, I'm gonna win at this, no matter what it takes. And that's what we did. I mean, it took what, 6, 7 months, I think it took me. I did all right. Like I made a few $1,000s. I think like my second month I quit my job. I walked into like because I had transitioned from the oil field to Walmart, a Walmart distribution center in the meantime, because I still had to generate an income, right? But in my head, there was a different plan going on. And so when I found this and I started this, I was still working at Walmart, and I think I quit my second month into this because
Soon
I
as it was Michael, I think it was Michael Cast.
Michael
Michael
Cass and
Cast just sells to his entire family. His entire family
yeah, dude.
blows up, and I
Like what
remember
was it? One day I made like $3,300 in one day. It was nuts. And I
from
walked in.
zero, from
Yeah.
zero to $3,300 in one day, and it was. Yeah, I remember that. I still remember the meeting. He was on there and he was like down below or whatever, and you can only see like the top half of his head. And
Uh-huh.
then we got that phone call after. He's like, all right, man, I'm in. And I think it was actually his wife. I think it was Casey that was like, yo, or no, Lori,
Yep.
Lori or Casey, whatever, one of them.
Yeah.
That I think was in his ear, like, hey, we're gonna do this. And then yeah, his mother-in-law, sister, he bought, everyone bought more than one product too. And it was just this wave of success. And then I remember the phone call I got after, like, I don't know, man, it was like a couple weeks later, maybe not even that. Hey, bro, I want to go market to Australia.
Right.
It's like, what are you talking about Australia? I mean, we don't know their tax system. We don't know where their head office is. We don't know exchange. We don't know. You're like, no, bro, I got it. Like, trust me,
Right.
trust me, trust me. I'm like, hey, man, if you want to go for it, go for it. That turned out pretty all right.
That turned out really good. That was a month or two after that started. It was like almost 18 grand. I think that was like 6 months, 6 or 7. It was almost an $18,000 month. And then that's when everything changed for me because that's whenever I realized that, okay, because I thought making 80 grand, 90 grand a year in the oil field was like, and it was for me because I didn't go to college. I like that was good for me. But man, when I made almost 18 G's in one month, I was like, okay, new level, new experience. And
Yeah.
so then it just went off. It was like 20 a month, 30 a month, 40 a month, and it just it just got wild. And then I'm traveling all over the world, which is really cool because I'd always dreamed of going to Australia, which is part of the reason why I wanted to build something down there is because I wanted to go down there, and it all manifested, which is really cool. It showed me that we're in far more control of our reality than what we think we are. Now, there are variables that are involved, and you have to make the right moves and put yourself in the right places in the right communities, like, with us at Legacy Builders or wherever it is. But like ultimately, I manifested that with this opportunity, and it was awesome.
I do remember that. And I remember being skeptical too, which is crazy when I look back. I remember why telling Laura, like, why would he go to Australia? He's got oil field, he's got his good brand, and like you came off of my oil field ad. And so
Mm-hmm.
we're rocking and rolling, but we still use that same ad, and we just happened to get a guy that was in the mining industry instead of the oil field industry,
Oh wow.
right? And then
Yeah.
that whole thing,
Yeah,
Jeremiah.
in Australia. Yeah. No, I ran that's the exact same ad that I ran to Australia and found one guy. And that's the thing is like only a couple people. It only takes a couple people to radically transform your life. In this business, you get a couple of people that are like us and your life will, and I know this sounds so cliche, but it's so true. It will never be the same. It will change overnight. Like 6 years later, the implications of that day are making me, almost six figures a year on autopilot.
And
So
bonuses.
it's yeah,
And
and the
bonuses.
bonus, that's what I mean. Like on autopilot, my bonuses are, so it's crazy. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, yeah. No, I feel you. So what was like the big what was the big aha moment when you realized that like you said you'd made the 18 grand, but obviously you were working towards that 18 grand. What was the moment when you decided that you were going to go all in and just leave the traditional workforce behind and just focus on becoming an entrepreneur?
I mean, like I said, I was committed to it when I got laid off from the oil field. Like I was committed to like not doing that anymore
So the
when I got laid
contrast,
off.
the
Yeah,
contrast, like so
right.
it's kind of like myself. See, like literally, the worst thing in the world happens to you, and you're like, I can't take another chance. And this is so funny because everyone goes, oh, I can't take the chance. I don't want to be a business owner. It's too risky. And it's like we did the same thing with actual work. My dad, my uncles, everyone coming in at Harley. Go to the oil field, get a trade. You'll have work forever. I don't want work forever, number one. And then
Right.
I go there and I spend money out of my pocket, my savings that I saved ever since I was 20 years old, man. I knew that I would need it for some point. And I spent it on what ended up being something that didn't work out, but it also ended up being the best thing in my life because I had that contrast to know it's like, okay, the alligators are over there. We can't cross that river anymore. This
Right.
is the only option. Like we just can't go back anymore.
Right. Yeah, that's what it was. I mean, I think my conviction and my belief only it only was stronger after I started. And not just because like I knew I didn't want to go. The fear and pain of going back to that. And still to this day. Like, dude, there's only a couple things that I am like really fear. One of them is deep water. I don't like I
Yeah, same.
like sharks and like the ocean really messes with my head.
Monster
Um,
suit.
the other one is getting to the end of my life and right before I die, having regret that I like you're gonna know, like you're gonna know when you get to the very end if you did what you wanted to do. And I don't know, I do not want to know what that level of regret and fear will feel like, even if it's not like like maybe it's days before, weeks before. I don't want to know what that feels like, right? And then the last thing is going back to a job. Like, dude, it scares me, bro. Like when I think about it, I'm like, no, no. Cause I just don't like that feeling, those chains. It feels like you're putting me in an invisible box with a straight jacket on and chains. And I hate that feeling of like confinement and control and manipulation over my experience. We didn't come here to be controlled like that. Like, and so for me, it's just it's that sense is so heightened even now, and that's why I continue to work, do
I feel
this.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah, the nice thing about teaming up with people that have the same value system is, we can do a lot more together than we'd ever do on our own. And,
right.
I in this business, like you said, it only takes a few people. Like Blaj, our coach and mentor, basically he's like, Kev, you need to find 8 people that are going to do this business with or without you in the right positions.
Mm-hmm.
8. It's this many people. Not even you don't
Right.
even have to count your thumbs. It's like 8 people, the right positions, your entire life change forever. And you're in the oil field, you're staring across. I remember this guy missing his 2 front teeth, Carhartt jacket all ripped up, 2 packs of smokes a day, smoker, dozer operator. I remember asking him, I'm like, so what do you make? He goes, 32.50. And I was making 28.50. I said, how long you been here? He goes, 33 years. I was 29. I'm like, you've been here longer than I've been alive, bro. Like, whoa. I like that. I just like the fear of what, yeah, like, when you're in your 20s, you're like, oh, maybe I'll be a movie star, or I'll get, maybe I'll be a famous singer or make the NHL or NFL or something like that. And then you get close to 30 and like the reality starts to set in. And at that 30 years old, you start asking yourself some pretty deep questions like, am I going to go for it? That was the one that I kept asking myself. Like, I know what I need to do. Am I actually going to strap my boots on and go
Right.
out into the wilderness and go hunt for this thing, or
Mm-hmm.
just let things happen to me? And I got to be honest with you, if the oil field thing didn't happen, man, I'd probably still be working at Harley selling bikes, making 60 grand a year.
Right. Yeah,
So
I get it. Those things definitely have to happen. That's for sure. Yeah, I feel you, man. So I mean, yeah, that's what it is, and this is where we're at. We're going for that legacy money. The coolest thing about it for me, like I think, is when I look at how long the traditional 9 to 5, the traditional workforce has to work to generate five to maybe $10,000 a month pensions, retirements, right? It's a long time. It's 40 years or more, until you're 60. Here in the US, it's like I think they raised it. It's like it's ridiculous,
67.
bro. Like you're dead. You're dead. you're pretty much dead, until you get to pull from your retirement or pension. And then it's not that much money.
And it won't
But
be there. Not with the
no,
rate this country's
right.
going. Like,
And we both know with what we've got going on, it will be there because of the way that they structured this business, with a 400-year plan, which is crazy. And the money's like that retirement money can come in 5 years, 10 years. You know what I mean? And by the time that retirement money does come, it's way more than a $5,000, $7,000, $10,000 pension. Way more.
and we'll be able to teach you how to invest into the Infinite Wealth program so you can
Right.
become your own banker. Then you start
Right.
taking loans and buying properties and basically taking the loan against your own money.
Right.
They imagine instead of going to the bank and paying the bank 5, 6, 7, 8%, you're paying yourself 5, 6, 7, 8%. So we're going to teach you that as well. So last question, what is your vision here for the next 12 months?
Oh gosh. So without giving too much away, I want to get to a place in our business where, where we reach another level, the organization has grown by at least 2. And then there's that bonus of like, I don't know, 32 grand or whatever. But my ultimate goal is to be able to have enough people coming into this to win at a high level. Like I want to look around and see other people that are achieving more than me. You know what I mean? Like, because the money doesn't really matter. And I've learned this over the years. It does in the sense that it gets you things. But like if people aren't around you, aren't winning, it becomes very lonely and it's a very bad feeling. And I know from experience. So I just want to make sure that we've put something together, which I believe that we have already, that is so solid that when people come in, like, and they actually do the work, because this is a global business and you do have to do work. We're not promising Lambos and mansions, overnight. And if that's what you want, go find somebody to get you on that one, because you're going to get got on that one. Yeah. But just like building this out, man, and helping people just come in by the droves and change their lives, set themselves free like you and I did. Like that's the ultimate goal, because I think that'll give me so much more fulfillment than the money. However, let's not beat around the bush. We're after both.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. New software, new system. This is a brand new platform. It has everything in it. It's been 9 months of building, testing, and now we're at the scale part. So, our team is almost 7,000 at this point, worldwide. And I would like to see, realistically, I would think, I turned 38 in a few days. I would like to see us. I realistically don't think it's too far to say that we could 10x. There's no reason why we couldn't have a 70,000 person organization by the end of 2025.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
Yeah. Just go out and do it. So if you guys, or if anyone out there watching is interested in learning about our process, please click the link inside of this email. There will be a link to the webinar. Give it a watch. You'll see Dave do his thing, and then you have the offer to get started. And once you go through our business consultation process, see our products, the compensation, how to make $100,000 a year with 2 sales a month on your own efforts, on just your own efforts, 100K a month, or sorry, 100K a year. And if you can duplicate that, then you're going to get to those 100K months, which is what my goal is by the end of next year. So other than that, thank you so much, Dave, for coming on, man, and sharing some knowledge with everybody. And if you want to see more Dave, go click that link, go watch the webinar. We'll see you on the next one.
Thanks.